Hello, I'm Graham Watson. I'm the Liberal Democrat member of the European Parliament for the southwest of England and Gibraltar. And in Brussels, I'm the leader of the Liberal Democrat MEPs from across the continent.
If your party were a biscuit, Graham, what biscuit do you think they'd be?
Ooh, I think we'd be a Jaffa cake. Why would we be a Jaffa cake? Because it tastes really good, but it's got nutrients as well. It does you good.
What are the three core aims of your party?
We exist to build and to safeguard a free and a fair and an open society in which we try to balance the fundamental values of liberty and justice and community. And we try to make sure that nobody feels enslaved, either by poverty or by ignorance or by pressure to conform.
How do you explain these aims to young people? How do you get your messages across?
Well, I spend a lot of time going out to schools and to colleges and going to talk to young people in the workplace to be able to get their ideas and their solutions for some of the problems we face. And I use, incredibly, a lot more social networking these days. You know, I'm not a young person myself. When I was 20, social networking sites didn't exist. But there's a fantastic opportunity there for politicians to talk to people, to get their ideas, to get their input in the way that perhaps many years ago you would have had public meetings. These days you can do it all electronically. I Twitter, I have a regular blog, I try to get people involved, and if people have got ideas and they want to come and let me know about them, that's what I want to take into politics, to really put some life back into it.
Graham, I've given you some information, and their issues I think are really kind of relevant and important to young people. Would you rank those in order, 1 most likely to do in power to 5 least likely to do in power?
Well, definitely number 1, relieving poverty in third world countries. Half of the people on this planet are effectively starving, and I think that is unacceptable. And I want to work to make sure that everybody can have a decent standard of living. And you know, if we do that, then people will have fewer children and we'll be able to develop the planet more effectively, and we'll be able to tackle the number 2 challenge, which is tackling climate change. The situation at the moment is worse than the scientists were predicting even 3 years ago. We're near one of these terrible tipping points where the planet starts to work against us and climate change becomes more rapid and much worse. We've got to work together to fight climate change. I'm already doing a lot on this in Brussels and Strasbourg, but there's a lot more to do. I think number 3 would probably be retaining troops in Afghanistan. And let me tell you why. One of the problems in the world is that there are countries like Colombia and Afghanistan which are being used by international criminal gangs for the growing and the processing of drugs that they put onto the markets of the rich world. And unless we're able to keep these countries governable so that we can be on top of these criminal gangs, then we're going to be facing big problems for a long time in the future. And you know, part of dealing with poverty in the third world, part of tackling climate change, part of keeping Afghanistan governable is all linked to developing the European Union. What the European Union is really about is not harmonisation of electrical plugs and sockets. Of course that helps trade. What it's really about is getting on top of the big challenges that we all face, like population growth and poverty and migration, or climate change and energy security, or internationally organised crime linked to terrorism. The 5th one you gave me, and I put it 5th, but it doesn't mean to say it's not important, is developing affordable housing. If you are a young person in my constituency in the southwest of England, it is 10 times harder for you to get onto the housing ladder now than it would have been when I was young and trying to do that. And I think that is a social injustice, and I believe we have to act to make housing more affordable for young people.
There's been a lot of talk in the media recently about this idea of protectionism. Can you just explain to us what that is and whether you think it's going to aid the current recession?
Well, what it's all about is, frankly, what happened in the 1930s. It's when countries decide that they're going to put up trade barriers. So, for example, Britain's going to say to France, well, we're not going to import your vegetables anymore because we want to provide jobs in this country with British people growing them. But of course it's Trade is not a zero-sum game. If they export to us, we export to them. And actually, we all get better off if we don't have protectionism, if we have free trade. That's why it's important to resist those people who are talking about British jobs for British workers.
I've never before voted in a European election. What one sentence would you use to inspire me to do so this year?
Crumbs. One sentence is a challenge. But perhaps I can best sum it up by saying this. So many of the challenges we face are global in nature, and we need to find global solutions to them. And that's what the European Union is all about. And in a sense, the decisions taken in the European Parliament are more important than the decisions taken in national parliaments. That's why people should go out and vote. I think we'd be one of those, oh shit, no, I can't remember. You're going to have to tell me the name.
Right.
Well, the thing's called, they've got chocolate on the top and then orange inside. Jaffa cakes.
Jaffa cake,
Okay.
okay.